Hey guys, and welcome back to the shop. Got some new toys for the shop today. We got the Alaskan 30-inch chainsaw mill from Granberg. A lot of the cheaper ones out there are knockoffs of the Granberg. A lot of people claim that the knockoffs, the bolts and screws and whatnot, tend to rattle or vibrate loose. This one is made in the United States. For better or worse, I paid twice as much for this one. Let's just see how it goes. Let's get this thing unboxed and play with it a little bit. This chain is designed specifically for ripping logs lengthwise. Okay, so the differences in the normal chain, which is on this side, versus the ripping chain on this side, immediately you can tell your angle of cut here is 10 degrees versus your regular chain is 30 degrees. Side view looks pretty well similar. Now everywhere I've looked, it does recommend that you run a little bit more oil in your gas than you normally would, because this is going to be a very hard process on the saw. And they do recommend an external oiler, or if you have the ability to turn up your oiler so that your chain and your bar won't wear out quite as quickly. There it is, put together. Took me about 25 minutes. The tools that came with it worked just fine. So it did come with another chainsaw tool, and the chainsaw tool does fit all the adjusting bolts, whatnot, which is nice. It's not terribly heavy. I would say, just guessing, maybe 15 pounds. So let's go out, let's cut down a tree and see how it works. Now we got us a 20-foot long cedar log that died on the stump, so it's actually dry and ready to sawmill. Beautifully straight, beautifully cured, and ready to work. There you go, guys. There's your first cut. It does appear to have a little bit of a dip in the middle, and I should have thought of that. I should have supported the ladder in the center, because the weight of the chainsaw actually made the ladder dip down just a little bit. But I'm going to be cutting these into probably 3-foot sections to use them anyway, so it shouldn't be that big a deal. So, fairly smooth cut. Nothing the planer and joiner can't take out. So let's get the saw adjusted and make our next cut. My first board, I think I installed this backwards. I think this should be flipped around so that it rides better on the log instead of grabbing into the log with the sides of that teeth. So I'm gonna get that flipped around and make my next cut. an assembly tip for you. So your saw is going to be cutting this direction, so make sure your scales are on this side, because you're going to want to measure off the top of this milled aluminum piece here. Because if you had it turned around like I did, I actually ended up with both of them backwards, and it's easy to do. Get it flipped around so that your scale is facing this milled aluminum piece. That way you'll be able to get a proper reading for your depth. Okay guys, final thoughts. Alaskan chainsaw mill from Granberg. Once I flipped this around, it just followed the log beautifully all the way down. There was no more fighting it. In this orientation, it actually made a better cut too. Let's see what the thickness of our board is. These were set to 1 1/8 inches. Perfect, right on 1 1/8 inches. Make sure your scales are facing away from you when you're behind the saw. Another thing you want to watch out for is you want to put this, adjust it so that it's in the middle of your log. It helps with pushing the saw through the wood, and it also helps, has an extra piece for it to ride on there. I would say the Alaskan sawmill from Granberg is a very well built piece. The instructions were great. I didn't read the instructions close enough to know the scales needed to face this away, so don't make the same mistake I did. Unless your saw is the maximum length for this particular sawmill, go ahead and leave these bolts loose, this bolt, leave them all loose, because you're going to have to slide it in to accommodate your saw. I probably could bring mine out just a little bit more to get a little bit more width of cut, but I don't need it at this time, so I will adjust on that later as needed. So guys, I would say go ahead and spend the extra money on the Granberg. It looks to me like they went the extra mile as far as making sure all the components lined up, all the components fit, everything was nice and smooth, no burrs on the edges of any of the parts that I could find. You got this nice aluminum track that you can adjust. So guys, this will go all the way up to a 14-inch log and down as low as I think it's at a 1/2 inch in the owner's manual. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comments down below, and like and subscribe if you get a chance. Appreciate you watching. Have a great day. Go make some sawdust.